So again, if you have any questions, definitely post those into the questions box, and keep in mind that if it's a question that you don't want to have addressed through the webinar, typically what I do is just read the question or paraphrase it and then provide an answer so that everybody has the answer to the question. So if it's something that, again, is specific to your account, or that for whatever reason you don't want announced, you can just email us after the fact. You can just reply to the webinar email, and we'll get back to you, or reroute that question to support if necessary. So with that said, and also technical difficulties. Anytime you get any technical difficulties, sometimes I'll get messages from people that are wondering why there's a problem. Typically, it's something on the local end, so it's on your end. There was an issue with a webinar yesterday that was due to GoToWebinars, and cross your fingers that doesn't happen again. That basically we lost audio. So if you lose audio, definitely it's okay to ping me. I want to know if that's happening. But in many cases, there isn't a whole lot that I can do about that. So you may just need to watch the recording or attend the next webinar. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. And I'll just show you some of the features. We'll start with the dashboard and show you that we have a widget tool that pushes out new widgets. Now we don't have any new widgets in progress at the moment, but this allows us to do this in the future for you. And essentially, anytime there's a new widget that's not on your dashboard, you'll be able to get this. You'll see an add a widget here, and then you can add that new widget and it'll show up. So in this case, we have the MLS info widget, which gives you the last update for your MLS or MLSs on your account. Here you have quick links, and of course features and notices, most recent leads. And of course, with notices, if you go to notifications, you'll be able to. That'll take you to the notifications tab where you can see all of the notices at once. Featured property stat, and again, with the dashboard, you can move these around, so you can put them wherever you'd like. Manage featured IDs. I'll get into that a little bit later, but essentially the manage featured IDs will give you allow you to add listings for each agent. So if you have an office account, you can choose the featured IDs for the featured listing page, and you can manage that all yourself. So that's how that works. I do have a question here about the recording, and in terms of, it looks like there is a technical question actually. Those of you that can hear the audio but don't see the visual, you may need to download the GoToMeeting software. So just be aware that you'll need to download that and then run that software in order to view the video, the webinar. So, and that's different from the recording of the webinar, which will be on YouTube after the fact. Here we have email updates. So this tells you how many email updates go out, and I'll show you the Mail Center in a minute. It's an amazing feature, new to Platinum. Basically, gives you all the details about the emails that have gone out from your account. Tips and tricks, we occasionally update that. Pages Health. Pages Health is something that essentially tells you if let's say your wrapper, for those of you that are familiar with our system and how the wrappers work, if your wrapper has images that are broken or links that are broken, it'll tell you the 404 percentage. So that just tells you, go look at your wrapper. It's a little bit, this widget is a little bit confusing because people don't necessarily know that when they look at this widget, but that's exactly what it's telling you. It's telling you how many 404 errors or image errors may be in the wrapper. So in some cases, people will move an image around and then they won't realize that the wrapper needed to be updated or something along those lines. This just shows the emails. We've got some charts down here as well, and then some account notes for the activity on the account. Of course, you've got your site navigation. You can click on your links there. You can go to the Pages tab, which I'll show you in a minute, and then your most recent leads. Anytime, if you need help, you can click on Page Help if the page has that. Not all pages have that right now, but hopefully will. And then you have dashboard widgets. It'll talk a little bit about that, and then point you to a knowledge base article. So when you click on that, it'll send you to the knowledge base article, and from there you can read about the dashboard widgets. So let's get into the notifications tab a little bit here. This is where you'll see the notifications for new features, anything related to your MLS, things like that. So it gives you, like for instance here, this is features that were pushed live on the 24th. Polygon link generator, blah blah blah. So you'll be able to see these updates, and especially now that we're in a feature building mode with Platinum, you'll get these updates in the notification center. So you'll be able to see anything that's new that's in Platinum that you may not have had a month prior. And that's really our goal with Platinum, is to deliver to you features at least every month that you're going to like, and then communicate that to you so that you can see that we're making progress and adding things at your request. So here you can see traffic stats, and this just tells you the pages. You can group by domain or refer. Excuse me. Raw traffic, so you can get the raw traffic stats, and then if you're into analyzing that stuff and you want to pull that into a tool or resource, you can export that traffic data. So it's very much like having log files for your primary website, but it's for the IDX pages. So you get essentially the raw traffic, which is all of this information, but exported into a spreadsheet. And as you can see, you got our database is able to store a lot of information here. So you got 51,000 entries of traffic entries. For those of you that are not familiar with this, I would just advise, there's no need to get into that unless you really are in need of that resource, or are somehow matching that information up with, with your analytics or what have you. This just gives you the pages, how many hits total you're getting on each page. It gives you a little graph. This is a case where you're getting it shows the page not found. So let's say you have a page a custom link that you've created and it's no longer there, or you need to rebuild it. You can go in there and look at that. And then here you have archives, and to address. So I do have a quick question here. This is hopefully everybody understands how to do this, but I can understand why you may not have that or may not have received the login. If you haven't received your login and you can't, for whatever reason, get into the dashboard, just contact help@, and they can send you the credentials to get into your dashboard. So you basically get to the dashboard from idxbroker.com. So to address that question. Archives of traffic. You can download the archive. We archive all that traffic for you, and I believe it looks like it's by month. So you're getting, monthly archive traffic there, and so that covers the traffic stats, API key control. And for those of you that are new to IDX Broker Platinum, it may seem like I'm speeding through this, but there's a lot to cover, and just keep in mind that you have a recorded version of the webinar, so you will be able to come back and just skip to different sections of the webinar. This is the account API key. So this is if you use WordPress and let's say you have the plugin, this is the key that's given to you when you sign up, and we put it in the email that we send to you. And then you plug that into that WordPress page, so into your WordPress settings page or your plugin page. So that's what that's for. It's also used by partners. So for instance, Real Pro Systems, Tribus, there's some other partners that use the account key, and they generally will manage it. If it's they're managing your account, they're going to be managing the key, and so you don't have to worry too much about this aspect. It's more of an advanced developer tool resource. There's also API documentation. A lot can be done with the API. And then here you have API traffic, and this is more just to tell, say how many times, whether you're hitting the limit of API calls. So let's go to Message Center. Love this feature. So this is where, and a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people are not aware that this exists, and you can bookmark these. These are all URLs that can be bookmarked, including the tabs. So if you bookmark this in your browser, and then you go back to the page, it'll just ask you to log in, or maybe save your login, and then you'll go straight to the page. Now this is great because it tells you, it shows you the exact email that was sent out. So in this case, you have an email, lead home valuation email that went out, lead information. So you have all that information, including in the lead management page area as well. So, but what this does is it gives you one place where you can look at all of your emails that are going out generated by the system, including the let's take a look here. See if I can find an email update. Home valuation. So here's an example of a preview of an email update. So this would show the preview, the email that went out to your lead or your client with an email update and the results from that update. So from the message center, you'll be able to see what the system is sending out on your behalf. And then this email, this really talks a little bit about this email center. Basically, is whatever it could be sent to you. Let's say you set up an email update for yourself to see if the searches, the email updates are working, or that you want to look at properties that might be for a specific client, but you don't want to set them up with an email update or a saved search. Although I would recommend that you do. You can. It's just the email address is the lead email address, so that could be you or that could be them. It's whatever that email address is. And then these are the emails being sent by the system automatically. So, for instance, a new lead is signed up. This is an agent notification email that goes out to the agent when the lead has been brought in, and then goes to that particular agent. So the email address itself is, and it could be any number of emails. It could be yours, it could be the agents, it could be the leads. So hopefully that answered the question regarding that. And again, another question here about the video. We are recording the video, so yeah, if you have to leave early for whatever reason, you'll still have access to that video after the fact. Here you have account notes. So you have a specific account notes for instance, an upgrade. We have an upgrade center, and you can go in and upgrade. This shows that an upgrade was made, and this date and time, and then the IP and so on. It also shows the featured ID and the listing office ID. I'll get into that a little bit later so that makes more sense. But it basically just records the information for you about what's going on with the account. This is where you manage your contacts. So currently we have a contact type listed here, but we don't have separate roles just yet. That will be a goal at some point in the future, is to get roles set up for various contacts. But for now, these are the contacts that we use if, for instance, you have a designer and when you sign up, you give us the designer's name. We enter that into this table, and then we'll send that designer and you credentials. So here's where you edit your billing information, and so you can see all your billing information. You can print the invoice, email the invoice. There currently isn't a way to automate that email or that invoice, but just note that from here you can email it, and then you can add or edit or update your billing. We also offer in Platinum ACH Direct, so you can set up your checking account if you'd like to pay that way. So let's go to the Upgrade Center. The Upgrade Center is where, and this little lock just means it's locked down to this particular account, and it's high security. So basically, this is to prevent anybody. That's to prevent anybody from just randomly upgrading. It also stores like I said, showed you in the account notes. Anytime there's an upgrade, it'll show the IP, and so that you know, okay, so-and-so has upgraded the account. So let's say you have a developer or designer that you're working with, and then they upgrade or accidentally upgrade, or you accidentally upgrade. There's no confusion there about how that happened. So here you have the upgrade, and then you can choose your agent blocks and go from there. So, and then here you have the account info. The account info is where the subdomain is, the custom subdomain, and so you can create your custom or add your custom subdomain there. You just click yes, and then you would add that in. Now in this case, this is a bad example because it's not. This isn't a. We don't have a custom subdomain set up for the demo, but this is how it would be, and then it would be. This is the root domain for this in this particular case. Usually it's just the primary domain, but we had a subdomain set up for the demo. So this is usually something like, pardon me, a search.idxbroker.com or search.yoursite.com, and there's a good knowledge base article that talks about this and how it works. There's a little bit of content here that talks about it. You basically set this up in GoDaddy, and then that way, all the IDX pages would then be hosted for search engine purposes and SEO purposes on search.idxbroker.com or search.yoursite.com. Now note that in Platinum is smart enough to go check the CNAME and tell you whether that subdomain has been set up correctly. So if you get this little red button, it just means that you need to go back to GoDaddy or wherever you set that up and make sure that it's working. Or, as noted here, you may need to wait 12 to 48 hours for that to populate, that DNS to populate. So let's go here to change password. Pretty straightforward. You want to go in there and change your password. You can do it there. And let's see. Let's take you. Covered that. We'll go to preferences and global preferences. So global preferences is going to be where you set up and control a lot of what we call toggles for the for the front end pages. So let's say you want media refinement on the front end pages, or you don't. So media refinement is essentially let me see if I can find a search page here for you. I have a little tab. Whoops. That's not the page I want to go to. So in this case, oh, whoops. You know what I did? I think I did. Let me go back here. Yes. So I made the mistake of setting up the custom subdomain, but it wasn't set up correctly. So that was my mistake. Let's go back, refresh this page, and so then we go in here and take a look at. I'll show you where the media refinement is right here. So it's has image, has virtual tour, has open house. So do you want to display those? That's what this media refinement feature is about. Search list to display. Do you want to display the cities, counties, zips? You can exclude those. You could just focus on cities. It's all up to you. So it's a way of, basically this global preferences area is a way to control that front end without having to know CSS. And that's what we built here. Show the loading screen for searches. Do you want to do that in between searches? So when somebody clicks on a search, it shows that little loading window, or do you want to show the logo on the loading screen? So your logo is set up in the system. Assuming your logo is set up in the system, it would brand that so that when somebody clicks on search, it goes. It'll. Here, let's see if we can get an example here. It's not a good example because we don't have it set up, but that would basically show it on the loading screen. New search link. This is used in cases where, let's say you have somebody who performs a search, but then you want them to go back to a lead capture form of your own. You can set that lead capture form up here, and instead of going back to the IDX system link, it'll go to your lead capture form. So append the state to the city list. Do you want to do that? That's essentially, if I go back. So if you want, do you want to show just the city, or do you want to show the city and state? And then search page links. This just gives you the option of adding search page links to your page. And ignore this piece up here. This is actually it's a slight flaw in the demo page that we need to update. But this email update sign up now shows up here, so that's now a link. And so this is a great new link that, for those of you that are unfamiliar with this page, this is a great way to get people to sign up and just bring them in as a lead, because they have to go through a step process. So they go next and then sign up, and then that creates a listing manager account for them. So you could add all of them. All you have to do is click on this box and then select one from the drop down and then save changes. And then as you can see, let's go back, hit refresh, and there you go. So there's basic search now. So that's how you add those items in, and then default minimum and maximum price. You can set that here as well. That's for the search pages. Now, the search pages also provide a lot of other types of customizations, and I'll get into that a little bit later. There are so many different ways that you can customize those search pages. This is more at a global level. It helps you control those search pages and sort of initially just set up some basic settings for those, so that you're not having to customize each individual page. Here's the results page settings, and you can change show the property photo, thumbnails. If not, most people click yes on this, and so that's the only time you would not want to do that is maybe the MLS sends enormous photos, and it just takes a long time for the page to load, and you would prefer for some reason to have it load quickly. But a lot of listings, most people don't do this. Refinement search is if I go here, whoops, I keep going to that page. If I go here, search, and now you can see that I've saved those settings. So that showed the logo there, and that was what that logo feature was. Now here's the refinement search up here. So you can refine, you can choose a city if you want, and so on. So yeah, and that shows everything. So one of the advantages in Platinum is that the refinement search, or this main search, if you search from here and click a refinement search, it used to, in IDX Broker Original, it searches all the listings, and Platinum will actually filter down to what's in your refinement page. Because that's what you've chosen, or that's what's available. Show MLS provided virtual tours. Do you want to do that? Or the open houses? In some cases, maybe not. Maybe you want to feature your own only. Feature My MLS properties on standard results. That's defaulted to yes, because it will show your listings first. Feature My supplemental properties. Yes, if you have any, they'll show up as well in the standard results. And then the default number of properties per page. Now, some people set this to 100. That's a lot of properties to show on one page. It's also a lot of images to show, and then sometimes we'll get a complaint because somebody has set it to 100 but then wants it to load incredibly fast. Well, in most cases, if you have that many listings, it's not the best. You're going to have a trade-off. It will either load more slowly, or you're going to have to reduce that to 50 or 25 results per page. Most people are probably, most users are probably going to be happy with 25 per page. And then the number of characters to display in the remarks, in case you want to increase that, you can customize it there. And then how you want to sort properties, and then the order as well. So that's for results pages. And then if it detects changes, it'll ask you what you want to do, just so in case you change something but then forgot to hit save. Details pages. You want to show the empty detail data. Most people say no, and what that does is essentially, if I go here and I go to a details page, you're really not going to want to have a bunch of fields here with no data in them. So that's what that will do. It'll avoid that scenario. And then the map property type. Do you want to go to the default with the default map provider, which in this case is MapQuest, or would you like to go with WalkScore? So you can add WalkScore to your details pages with this drop down. And so with WalkScore, we actually pay for a premium WalkScore account. So with that premium WalkScore account, you're able to get, with this WalkScore key, you're able to get the premium WalkScore settings, which means, of course, that there's not going to be any inline ads or anything like that. But also it loads quickly and it is effective for those that are, where you may be near. It may be a condo properties or what have you. So just adds another feature. Map property locations, where do you want to show it? Do you want to show it before the fields or after the fields? And then details page, contact form. You can put that contact form on the details page from here. I'll just click no. So map settings. What do you want to do with maps? Do you want to show all results maps? Yes. What type of map do you want to show? Do you want to show a hybrid, which is satellite and road? Or do you want to show road or satellite? And this governs the results page. So this is the default map type. And then how do you want to refresh the map? Now, I believe that the default right now is manually. So for those of you that are that want that map to refresh automatically, all you need to do is come down here into Global Preferences, Map, and then Automatic, and you can set that to automatic. We didn't set that to automatic by default, and we forced that refresh button on people because of the server load required to load that map up. And so we didn't want to, the alternative was that potentially, you get into a scenario where the cost of delivering the map is high enough that it requires, billing clients for that. And we want to always try to keep our price at the same level for clients. And so that's why we didn't manually or automatically push that out for everybody. But that's a great feature. So if you want to get in there and do that, you can do that. And then display map on results. Where do you want to display the map? Do you want to display it on all, featured, what have you? So you have control there. Pin clustering. So let's look at a map and then look at the pin clustering. So the pin clustering is a new feature that we just pushed out in the last within the last month and a half. And this basically clusters the properties together. When you get up to too many properties, let me make sure that's of course that's disabled, so that's why that's not showing. And then let's I'll hit refresh here, and then now you can see that the map pins are clustering. And the beauty of this is that now suddenly you have 423 listings showing up on one map instead of only 50. We used to show only 50, and that was based on the way that the results were set up. This now allows you to zoom in on clusters, and then from there you can see the property details. So you can turn that on or off, and then you can turn that on or off for mobile as well. So in some cases people don't want it on mobile because that is on the mobile wrapper pages, because it's too many taps to go find a listing. Most people will probably just zoom in to a certain level when they're on mobile. So we've disabled that by default. But if you'd like map clustering and you don't have it now, you can go into Map, Pin Clustering, and then set that to enabled. And be sure to save the settings. And it'll give you a little growler. We call this a growler up at the top that confirms that the page has been saved. And then here we have show property photos, show refinement search. I'm going to speed through some of this just and try to target some of the more interesting and unique features in Platinum, because I only have about 25 minutes to do that. And also just kind of pull back and look at it from a 30,000 foot viewpoint for those of you that may be new to IDX Broker Platinum and how you integrate it. So this is your properties. So this is all for this governs the featured property page, the sold pending page, supplemental page, and the settings there. Email settings. This is where you set up your from address for emails that go out. You can set up a carbon copy as well that carbon copies you on all property updates that go out to your clients. Okay. You can customize that subject line for the email updates, the property updates that go out. You can send the property updates weekly if you'd like, or daily, or never. And then you can send yourself a sample. This is pulling from your account, from your contacts table, and you can pull the sample and then, or send the sample to yourself. And then here's the email signature, so you can customize that. And then down here you have recipient contact BCC. This is usually for those of you that may have a some kind of CRM and you would like to be BCC'd on all emails, and especially on new lead notifications. Those would go into this, be sent to this via BCC. Go from there. So that's the email settings. I'll click no. Share this. Do you have share this? Do you want to set up an account? If so, you can get your key and then put it in here, and then you can track any of the sharing of the properties. So, oh, and good question here on the updates, the sending the email updates. The question is, can the email updates be sent out hourly? And the answer is currently no. We're actually in the process of rebuilding our acquisition system, and over the next month or two, we hope to have that in a place where we can then add a feature like that, where you can set, something more frequently than daily. You share this. Again, I covered that a little bit, and that allows you to track. So if I go to a listing and I go here, and then this listing has share this in it. These are all the share this icons. It'll just track that so that you can see how often listings are being shared. So that's all integrated into the system. Mobile pages, do you want to use the mobile wrappers? Most people say yes. Do you want to detect tablets as a mobile device? So the mobile wrappers are a little bit different from they're a little bit different from the standard wrapper, and they're a lot different actually, because what they do is they create that mobile experience. But then in some cases, if you have a tablet and you have an iPad or something like that, you may not want that limited user experience and simplified user experience. And so that's why you can toggle this off if you'd like, if you want the full website on mobile on the tablets, and then have mobile wrappers on just the phones and so on. Here's where you would upload your logo, and then some lead management settings, roster page settings for those with offices, your sitemap page. Now note that the sitemap is a link. It's just a URL, so it's not like the full sitemap that you would enter into Google, but it does get crawled. And so, do you want to put the full state on there? What kind of city list do you want to use? And again, some of these features I'm not going to have time to drill into, into every feature, but there's a lot here that for those of you that are new to IDX Broker or even have had IDX Broker Platinum for a long time, I'm sure there's going to be something here that you've discovered or will discover. So here we have, again, moving right along, we've got the city list. So you can build a city list, and you've got RMLS, dynamic MLS. You can set that up. That's your own. You basically set up a city list here, and you can create a new city list, county list, or zip code list. And that just lets you focus on your area. So here's one of the powerful features that you have within a product like IDX Broker Platinum, where you're adding. You can add things like saved links to your website that are, in this case, let's say we have a Polygon saved link. So let's say you have a neighborhood And let's hit refresh here. Whoops. So if you have a neighborhood, and let's start with the basic search, and you have or a city, and you want to focus on Aberdeen, and then certain price, min max, and you go to the next step, and then it allows you to customize that custom link. So you can create a custom link that has your subdomain in it, your own custom subdomain in it, which I talked about a little bit earlier, and then it has an I, and then the URL, whatever you want the URL to be. So Aberdeen is the URL, Aberdeen real estate, right? So now you've created a custom link, well, not quite yet, but after I fill out the meta tags and meta keywords, I'll have a custom link that I can link to on my site that has my custom subdomain that I own, that has a URL that I've set, and I haven't had to do any HTML coding or anything along those lines to get this page set up. And you can create these pages, these custom links, pretty quickly. Now, for those of you with offices, you could assign to an agent. So if a custom link, you could set up a custom link for a certain area and then assign any leads that come in from that custom link to to a specific agent. So from an SEO standpoint, what this does is it creates a unique page on your custom subdomain, which again here, this would be search.yoursite.com or something like that. It would be a custom link, and then the title could be whatever keywords you want, meta tags, and then that becomes essentially your content, and then that content gets updated every day, or even twice a day, or maybe more frequently than that, depending on how often the MLS gets updated. And essentially, it gives you that the ability to let's see if we have a custom link example here. This is a link showcase. Yeah, that's not a good example, but yeah, I would need to build a custom link, but essentially what it does is it creates an example way for you to point people directly to a page from your home page, and then that home page, when you put it on your home page, that page becomes more interesting to the search engine. So from an SEO standpoint, and just to clarify, because there's always a lot of confusion around that specific term, SEO benefits or SEO settings. This just, all it is what the web has always been, which is the more content you can create and the more unique you can make it, the better off you're going to be. Over time, you will benefit from building out pages, and in this case, you can build out pages without knowing any HTML. You can I would recommend putting the subheader, putting something about Aberdeen in there, so you could put your content about the city of Aberdeen or about the neighborhood or whatever you'd like, and then that becomes your page, and that becomes a content-rich page that then is attractive. So that's what this means. That's why we reference SEO settings here on this one. And so again, you can use any search page to create a link, and really link creation and the link setup process, that could be an entirely separate webinar. So that's something that if you have any interest in that, you can definitely reply to that webinar's email, and or any other topic related to IDX Broker Platinum, and we can set up a webinar for that. So again, to get through this, I want to make sure I'm getting through all of this essentially, but let's go to the agent's ID, and essentially what this does is this allows you to create or find the agents in your office, and then select those agents, and then choose those agents, and then those agents become the agents that are used for your featured page. So you have a featured page under Pages, Designs, And then in this case, we don't have the agents added, but that's essentially how that works. Go back here, featured IDs. And so you can change the agent around. If you have an office, you can base it on office ID. So this page is generally used by our coordinators to help you set up your account. So this is a very powerful feature and was launched just recently in the last couple of months. This allows you to actually change and modify some of the settings. So let's say if you don't focus on commercial and you don't want commercial to show up on your front-end pages, you can come in here and modify this. So this is an area where, again, with your IDX Broker Platinum subscription, you have a tremendous amount of customization at your fingertips that doesn't require CSS on your part. So it doesn't require that you get into the code or that you get into CSS to modify it. It's just a matter of getting into the control panel and knowing where to find this stuff. Another good example are the fields. So, if the field, you need to rename the fields, get the advanced fields. For whatever reason you don't like the way it's named, you can get in there and make that change, and then it's specific to each MLS. So let's move on to pages. And we'll take a look here. One of the biggest features that people don't realize is available, and so a lot of times we'll get questions about how to customize a form and put it on their own website rather than just build it into IDX Broker and link to it, is this create new feature where you can use a template and then just create a new page for that template. You give it a name, a URL, and then it'll show up in the system. Automatically, it'll show up in the pages system, and then those can be deleted later. So you have the ability to delete those or change the fields. This, again, this is another tab where for those of you that really want to customize things, we could get into an entire webinar that's just about this. So in looking at this, what you've got is you can change the preferences. So let's say I want to go here and I want to change the default city list for that page. You can do it at the page level, so you can modify things at the page level. Let's say I want to hide, I've set my min and max, but I want to hide them. I just go there, I hide those two, it tells me they're hidden, and I've customized that page, right? So I've customized the core search for that page. Now if I want to change the data fields for the advanced search, then I would come in here, choose an MLS, choose my property type, and then from there I can make all kinds of changes to my advanced search. Okay, so I could, let's say I want, in this case, I want to set a default value of condo. Okay, so that default is essentially on that advanced search page, the default is going to always be condo, and then I call that page condo search. Or I could hide it, I could call it condo search, and then that field doesn't even display. Now it displays on the back end when I'm setting it up, but it won't display on the front end. But then when you create that page and display it and link to it from your website, you can call that page, when you build that page out, you can call it condo search, and you can call the link on your site condo search, and then it will filter by only condos. And so you can have all these other fields and then a hidden value of condo. So that's the magic of that little preferences change, and essentially it's called fields. That's where you find that directly. So you could go through preferences and then click on the bottom of that page, or you could just go directly to fields. So here you can also have custom wrappers for each page. There's a tremendous amount that can be done. If I go here and I go to the details page, and I go to, this is for those of you that are interested in SEO, you go here and you can add the city information, dynamic city information, listing information, and that it shows you the URL and how that displays. So it'll show, and then you can do the same. You can inject that in here as well. So I am getting a few questions here from people that, it sounds like you may be new to IDX Broker Platinum. I definitely don't want to leave you hanging. So let me talk a little bit about, I'll jump over to get to the, I don't have too many pages open now. How does IDX Broker Platinum display on my page? And that seems to be or how do I set it up? Now, if you have the WordPress plugin, you set it up by refreshing the options, and then you click on these links and follow the instructions, essentially, and then you can get through just basically, you're just adding links to your site. So in this case, if I visit the site, I've added links. Now this is my main site, right? This is this WordPress site, or whether it's WordPress or not, this is the site the site that I built. Now if I in my navigation I add a link to IDX Broker pages, that is, IDX Broker creates those pages for me, and I click on that link, that will then take me to a page that looks just like my site. That's how IDX Broker Platinum works. We take what's called a wrapper, and we take your design and wrap it around these links, and then we give you the ability to customize the URL for those links. So you can set it up as search.mysite.com or something along those lines. So that's the core premise. You can do that. You can add the links to the navigation. You can also pull widgets, and I haven't covered the widgets yet, but you can pull widgets and just put that little snippet of widget code on your site, and then that's how you display things like slideshows, showcases. There's a map search widget. I would encourage you to go to ptdemo.idxbroker.com if you're curious, or actually if you're with your own account, you can log in and just, if you have any questions, you can go to the knowledge base, and then you can contact our help if you get stuck. But there's a lot to IDX Broker Platinum, and I understand that those of you that may be new to it are wondering, just how do I get this? I just want to get this set up. Please tell me how to do that. Our help team can also help you with that. So if you have any questions about the initial setup and how to get things going, how to get the wrapper updated, that sort of thing, we can definitely help you with that. So let's go back here to, we looked at pages, page preferences, SEO settings, and then that's where you set up the details pages. And then you can pull in some different SEO tags there as well. Let's go to widgets. And so the widgets are, where you can build any sort of widget you want. You can have the different width. You can, and you can see this is a preview. So this is just how it's going to look in your site. We pull in your design, and then we show you how it's going to look. You have to actually go in and pull the code. So you would take this code, this little JavaScript, and then you add that in to your site, anywhere on your site, after you've created the widget, and that's how that works. For most of you, we've already created widgets, so you have a bunch of default widgets here that have been created. In this case, we have demo widgets that we created, but yours will not show this do not delete. Essentially, those widgets are things that you can add in via the code, or you can go into, if you're have WordPress, you can drag and drop them in. So you would go to, let's go to the, I think it's appearance and widgets. And then you would find out where you need to put those. Maybe it's a sidebar, and then you have IDX Broker quick search or something like that. And you just drag and drop that in, and then give it a name, and it shows up on the front end. Okay. The wrappers, this one is, actually, let's go back to widgets here, because I have a few questions here, people asking about the widget. So there's a couple different types of widgets. You have, the slideshow. That's the rotating. It just rotates through the page, through the listings. You have showcase, where it doesn't rotate and it's static, but it features a certain number of listings. You have the quick search, and then map search, which can go on any page on your site. So you can change the width of it if you'd like. So you can do there's a lot of customization that can be done there. And then Let's go back. And then featured agent widget. This is good for offices if you want to feature a specific agent randomly, so you can do that. Note that we are actually most of the way through at the very end of what we call a sprint cycle, where we're developing new features and enhancements. We've got one that's coming out next week that is set to deliver and this is the first that we've announced this information, but that will allow you to have a map search, polygon search widget. So you can set up the polygon search. Actually, I believe it may be set up as a completely separate widget, and then you can create a polygon search that then displays results for specific areas. So it doesn't display the map. Yeah, and I apologize for the confusion there. It doesn't display the map search, but it displays only listings that you've set up within that polygon range, search range. So, and again, polygon search is available as a page as well, or as a custom link as well. So you can create, a custom link that allows you to do a polygon search. Okay. So to answer that, and I am a little bit behind on time here, so I'm going to speed through these. We've got wrappers, dynamic, static includes. Some of you may know what this is. If you don't necessarily need to worry about it because we typically will set up the static wrapper for you on when we ship your account, or you may deal with one of our partners and developer partners, and they do it all for you. The dynamic wrapper is useful for those of you that have WordPress, because you could create a WordPress page and then add the tags in and then have an automatic dynamic wrapper that allows us to always know or always display the latest menu and your latest information from your website on those IDX pages. So what you're looking for essentially is that full design integration where it's custom branded. Here I'm on the main site, or actually here I'm on the main. That's my site, and then I click here and I go to advanced search. It looks just like my site, but it's actually hosted on the subdomain, maybe my custom subdomain. That's what you're looking for when you get this wrapper. You want everything to look nice and branded and blended in, and not have iframes. You don't want an iframe because of the difficulty in getting those indexed. So if you have an iframe now, or you've had iframes in the past, that's one of the big reasons why you want to go with an integrated IDX like IDX Broker Platinum. Let's go to subheaders. You can change the subheaders here. You can add a subheader to any page, or all pages, or specific pages. Custom CSS, you can modify the CSS if you have a designer. They can do amazing things to IDX Broker Platinum. We have some accounts that are just so impressive, and we have designers where if someone's willing to, if you're willing to spend the money on a good designer, you can create a completely seamless IDX system. And I would just stress that if you don't know CSS, that you would probably want to talk to a designer and have them do that work for you. If you're just dabbling in CSS, that's fine. We're not able to our support team cannot provide support for CSS unless it's a case where we've shipped an account and given you an account and it doesn't look clean out of the box. We'll definitely help you with that. We try to provide as much support as possible in those cases. And then quickly, leads. And a quick question about here, I do have a quick question from CSS on the CSS. You have a list of classes and IDs that you use. That can all be done via Firebug. So for those of you that have advanced CSS knowledge, you can find all that from within Firebug and then set it up that way. But we don't, to my knowledge, we don't have a list, or at least not one that we've posted to our knowledge base. This is where you get your lead information. So if you have a lead set up here, and whoops, that one's interesting. So if you have a lead, let me make sure I get a lead that, there we go. So if I want to save a search for the lead, I can create one right here for this lead, and it's based on It can be based on any criteria, and then that lead will then get get the saved search email when listings fit that search criteria. So there's a lot that can be done there. You can save properties for leads as well. Leads can save their own properties. So if I want to go to, let's go back here. Whoops. Actually, let's go back to leads. And there's a little icon here. It says log in as lead. So a lot of our clients like to do this, and you log in just to see what it's going to look like from a lead standpoint. So when they're in their in their account, they can come in here and they can they can create a search. There's the information. Now if I want to save the search, I just go here, and now it's saved. So this search that I've just created is saved in that lead account, and then I go back to my, let's say I want to see my saved searches. There's my saved search. I can give it a name if I want. It'll give me the new listings for the past 7 days for this search, or the last day. So I'm getting, with that saved search, you're basically getting an account that goes directly into your IDX broker system. And then, like I said, you can log in as the lead, and then that's how you are able to see what the lead sees. And then if you're doing any customization, you can have your designer customize things from there. Question here is there a special app for, this is a good question, is there a special app for mobile to input the agent number? On the mobile pages, when you see, let me take you to this, I'll take you back to this, so you can see how the mobile pages look. Now this is the polygon search. So that's how a polygon, that's just a snapshot of it, but that's how that works. And then down here, if I check out the mobile design, we created on the demo, we created a little example of how the mobile looks. Now what this does, and really the design is best, I think, with the details page, because it just looks really clean. They can contact you if they like. There's a phone number at the top, the information here. Now, if it's an office account and you have an agent set up and the listing is for that particular agent, or if you've sent that agent the listing header ID code and then they've added that to the system. And again, this is a good topic for an office-specific webinar on Platinum. If you do that, then that agent will show up here at the top. So you'll have your branding here, and then you'll show the agent name, and then I believe that it shows the office phone number at this time. But we can, if you have any requests around that, we can certainly review those requests. We're doing our best to, take in feature requests and enhancement requests and really drive those forward in 2014. So, and then a last question here, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to get through everything. Lead registration preferences, that sort of thing. That's probably an entire webinar as well. Listings, you can modify listings. Sold pending, if you have any sold pending account listings that are archived, you can set them as sold or pending in the system, and then they'll show up on your sold pending page automatically. So that's something you can govern. And then for offices, you can control agents. You can. The beauty of Platinum is that you can actually show all agents. In this case, we don't have any because I don't have a code set up, but or an office ID. But you can show all the agents, and then you can import your agents directly in without having to manually add them each time. So you can get all the agents in your database here. One last question was around the polygon search and whether the polygon search is available on the front end on the map, and the answer is that that's not available just yet. It's set up as a custom link for now, and then will also be a widget or widget results based on polygon search, but for now the polygon search is not set up for the end user. I think the reason for that, and the reason why we prioritized the other polygon searches ahead of that, has to do with the fact that a lot of the polygon search tends to be something initiated or requested by clients to specify a certain area and show only results for a certain area. A lot of the the front end users will just go to a map search page and they'll zoom in from there. So they aren't necessarily as interested in showing and filtering results to a specific within a specific grid of a neighborhood. But we are looking at that feature, and our intent is to build that out on the front end in the future as well. So go back here. Again, for those of you with syndication, there's syndication available here. Trulia, this is automatic, so that'll automatically syndicate to Trulia. You don't have to go and set up an account. If you want to, syndicate out to different sources, you can do that here. And of course, you have to set up the account and so on. But it does allow for the syndication of your own properties, if the MLS allows for that. Yeah, and then exports, you can save. This is just old exports, and then you can create exports based on agent ID. You can do a lot of data exporting from your account. Another question is there a way for a lead to view what an account page looks like prior to setting up an account? We don't have within the system. We don't give people a sort of a snapshot of that. You could do that. You could show that on your home page. What most people do is on their home page, they'll put sign up now for listing email updates or something along those lines, and then link to take you to that page, to this page called the email updates sign up, and then they'll link directly. They'll just put this link into that image, or behind that image is the href, and then people will come here, perform a search, and then they sign up and they've got an account. And then once they have an account, then you can see that they've come in. You'll receive an email saying that they have a new account, and then you can sort by last activity. You can see that this last activity, my activity, is showing here, and then have that set up. So that's how you see it on your side. Again, I'm at the end of the webinar. I wish I could extend it further, but we're at the full hour mark, beyond the hour mark. For those of you that have any requests or questions that we could turn into a webinar or that would be helpful, please send those our way, and we'll compile that information and do our best to get more information out to you and help you get the information that you need. Again, if you have any questions about specific to your account, please note that those questions should go directly to help@idxbroker.com, so you can call or you can email help with your account specific question, and somebody will get back to you with that. Again, the webinar is recorded, so you should receive it within the next 24 hours or so, and I appreciate the time that you've taken. One thing worth noting is that if you click on that knowledge base link at the top, it'll take you to our knowledge base. You can click search. You can find, by topic, you can find a lot of different knowledge base articles. If you if you don't find something there that you need, then definitely give us an email or send us an email to help@idxbroker, and we'll get the article set up or clarified for you. So, and again, the webinar is being recorded. There's also past webinars on YouTube. It's YouTube/IDX Incorporated. And so you'll be able to see any old previous webinars from there. But we hope to have some new content coming out here soon, where we can talk a little bit about listings and leads and some of these other tabs, and have time to drill into those in detail. So if you have any feedback and you want to send, you have a request for a specific tab, let us know. So thank you for attending the webinar today. Hopefully I have not completely overwhelmed you with information, and that you're getting the information that you need, but you'll be able to skip around. Again, the webinar is recorded, so you'll be able to skip around as needed, and then definitely stay tuned, as we'll have more webinars coming out in the future. Thank you again.